Hey, what's good, everybody? I'd like to welcome you all back to the Boombox Guru channel. I'm your host, LB. So today we're doing another discography review. This time we're doing it on the Coup. The P is silent, but the Coup is a hip hop group slash band from Oakland, California. Best known for their communist influence lyrics, politically charged subject matter, but also with a funky hip hop twist. That's what they're best known for, and the group originally consisted of uh, two MCs, Boots Riley, E-Rock, and DJ Pam the Fontress, along with a host of additional musicians who provided like live instrumentation on a lot of their songs. Today, they're pretty much a full-fledged band, with Boots Riley being the main constant member and driving force behind the Coup. Uh, DJ Pam the Fontress, she was with the group. She was with the group for a number of years, and she ended up kind of, I guess, leaving or not becoming not so much of a full-time member, because she ended up starting like a catering business, and then she ended up becoming the official, I think, tour DJ for Prince, which is a very high-profile gig. I think she did that up until Prince passed away, and then in 2017, unfortunately, DJ Pam the Funktress, she passed away. E-Rock left the group after the second album, so it has left Boots Riley as being the main driving force, continuing to carry on the Coup. And in more recent years, Boots Riley, he's more known outside of music. He's becoming a very well respected writer and film director. He actually filmed the movie Sorry to Bother You, which I think came out back in 2018, 2019. And he's also recently put together a new mini series that's on Amazon Prime. I can't quite think of it right now. Uh, Trying to hold on. Let me look it up right quick. Uh, yeah, I'm a Virgo. That's the name of it. Yeah, it's a recent miniseries, 7 episode miniseries that he wrote and directed. That's appearing on Amazon Prime right now. He's also a social activist. He's not one of these rappers that just rap about what's going on in society. He's actually a foot soldier that gets out there and partakes in like protest. He's connected with a number of political organizations and so forth. And he's also a self proclaimed communist. A lot of the lyrics, him being the main lyricist in the group, a lot of their lyrics are influenced by communist political views and ideas and so forth. And just to clarify though, going into this discography review, I want to just make it clear that by me doing this discography review, I am by no means aligning myself with any type of political ideal or stance. I'm simply doing this discography review because I'm a fan of the Coup. They make really good music, and I think they have a pretty solid discography thus far. And I'm simply just going into this as a fan, so I don't want anybody to think that I'm aligning myself with any kind of political stance or political view. No, I'm apolitical in this whole thing. I'm just doing this simply because I'm a fan of their music, because they make really great music. And Boots, as a rapper, as a lyricist, songwriter, he's not a preachy guy. So whether you agree or disagree with his political views, he does it in a way that's smooth, that's slick, that's really clever. He's not like beating you over the head with his views. And more so, it's one of those cases where he gives you something to like think about. In most cases, that's his whole approach, man. He's very laid back, but very clever and lyrical with his style. So without further ado, man, let's go ahead and get into this discography review. So we're gonna begin this with the Coup's very first album, called "Kill My Landlord," released in 1993 on Wild Pitch Records. Which is actually kind of interesting, man, that this came out on Wild Pitch Records, because Wild Pitch Records was actually a East Coast hip hop label based in New York City. So a lot of iconic East Coast artists were signed to that label. Lord Finesse was on the label. Gangstar, their first album came out on there. Who else? I think Main Source. So mainly a lot of East Coast, New York City based hip hop artists were mainly signed to the label. And so I think the Coup might have been one of the few artists outside of the East Coast that was actually signed to that label at the time. But Kill My Landlord, man, this is a classic debut album from the Coup. This is them introducing the hip hop world to their funky brand of political hip hop. It's a great record from start to finish. One thing about this album though is I think what sets it apart from their subsequent releases is that even though it's funky, even though they have that brand of Bay Area Oakland funk, this record has a lot in common with alternative hip hop, or what some people might call like backpacker hip hop. There's a lot of jazzy like parts throughout the record. They give it sort of like a East Coast, slightly East Coast boom bap aesthetic. That's one thing that I noticed about this record that sets it apart. But it's a classic record. I think a lot of people consider this to be one of their favorite albums by the Coup. Some people might even consider it to be one of their best records. I mean, they had two big hits off of this album called Dig It and Not Yet Free. I believe it was either Dig It or Not Yet Free. One of them had a video that a Chris Tucker film kind of copied. I think it was Not Yet Free. But there's a scene in Chris Tucker's Money Talks movie that pretty much bit that whole entire video from the Coup, from this album, man. But it's a solid debut album, man. I really enjoy it, man. Definitely different. You know, I would say that at this point they were kind of more in line with the whole backpacker rap stuff that was happening in the Bay Area. You know, similar to like Hieroglyphics, or maybe even like the Far Side from Los Angeles. You know, Hieroglyphics is also from Oakland, California. So it's kind of more along that lines, man. But they definitely give a different kind of twist to political hip hop. You know, it's not so much in your face and abrasive as say maybe like a Public Enemy or a Boogie Down Productions, man. It's actually kind of laid back and smooth and keeping with that West Coast style. That's how they come across, man. But this is a solid debut album, a classic. You know, like Dig It and Not Yet Free. Those were the two big hit singles from this album, and they've gone on to become two of the most recognizable songs by the Coup. So definitely a record that's worth checking out for new listeners to the Coup. And remember, it's pronounced the Coup, not the Coupe, but the Coup. The P is silent. I think they actually made a song or something about trying to tell people how to pronounce the name or something like that, I think. But anyway, going on to the band's second release, we have Genocide and Juice, released in 1994. This was also on Wild Pitch Records. I'm pretty sure this was their last album on Wild Pitch Records, because I believe Wild Pitch ended up going out of business not long after this. Yeah, this is a reissue, and I don't know why. I don't know why they changed the cover, the album cover on the reissue. I wish they would have just left it like the original, because the original cover is way more cooler. Because there's actually like three giant like liquor bottles standing behind each member of the group. And the name Genocide and Juice is a play on the words gin and juice, which is in itself a play on Snoop Dogg's famous single, Gin and Juice, which, well, this album came out the same year that Gin and Juice dropped, which was 1994. So Gin and Juice only had been out maybe like a few months when this album dropped. But yeah, this record, this is one of my favorites from the Coup. It was actually the first Coup album that I ever heard when I really started to get into the group. And one thing I will say is that unlike the more alternative hip hop boom bap style of Kill My Landlord, Genocide and Juice pretty much sheds all of that away, and they really focus on the funk aspect of the band's sound. To be more specific, you know, the Coup hailing from Oakland, California, the Bay Area, the sound on this album has a lot in common with that mid-90s mob music style that was very popular in the Bay Area. It's a style of hip-hop music that originated in the Bay Area, pioneered by Too Short, who's from Oakland, E40 from Vallejo, Spice One from Oakland / Hayward. A lot of Bay Area hip-hop artists, you know, pioneered that sound, and that's what the Coup goes for on this record. And there's a lot more live instrumentation on here. There's a lot of additional musicians that provide live bass, live drums, live keys, and so forth. Man, like the musicianship on this album is really good. As much as I like their first album, Kill My Landlord, I really think that Genocide and Juice was a vast improvement when it comes to production and it comes to the music quality that they presented on this record. And now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of wonder if maybe that was deliberate for them to go in that more mid 90s mob music style. I was wondering if maybe this was their way of wanting to really get through to the streets more so than to appeal to the backpacker crowd that I think Kill My Landlord really spoke to. And, you know, it's just a question that I'm wondering right now as I'm doing this video. But you know, this album has some hits on it too, man. Fat Cat's Bigger Fish was a big hit for the band. It was one of the big hits from this record, and that song too has gone on to be one of the Coup's most recognizable songs. So that track and that video really helped to further raise the Coup's profile. A lot of great songs on here. Pimps, Freestyling at the Fortune 500 Club is one of my favorites. It's funny, man. It's a song that cleverly critiques capitalism. Let's see, Taking These, I believe that was another single. I know they shot a video to that. Hip to the Scheme, Gunsmoke. Gunsmoke is arguably the hardest track on here. The Name Game, 360 Degrees. What else? Hard Concrete. Santa Rita Weekend featuring E40 and Spice One. That's another great one. Repo Man is one of my favorites on here. It's self-explanatory. That whole title was self-explanatory. It's a critique on about how shady the repo companies can be, you know. And I think a lot of us in our lives can attest to how the repo man can be. They can be very shady if you're not careful. Interrogation, like every track on this album is good, man. I really dug it, man. And the production on here, like I said, you know, a vast improvement over the Kill My Landlord. Even though I really enjoy Kill My Landlord, I just really dig that the live instrumentation that they brought into the sound, which was really making the Coup more of a hip hop band instead of a hip hop group. And they just really dug into that Oakland funk, that Oakland style. Like a lot of these things kind of reminded me of Too Short and the Dangerous Crew. That's what it kind of reminded me of in a lot of ways. But this is a great record, definitely one worth checking out. Phenomenal record, great follow up to their first album. Oh yes, and group member E-Rock, this was the last album with him. E-Rock, he's the one right here that's pouring out the bottle of liquor. Yeah, he actually left the group after this album to become a longshoreman. And I guess it was he had kids. He was a family man. And he wanted a more stable career, so he left the group after this album. And so after Genocide and Juice, like the Coup kind of took a 4-year hiatus. You know, like I said, E-Rock left the group to become a longshoreman. DJ Pam, the Funktress, I mean, she was a highly sought after DJ. So she was booking all kinds of DJing gigs. So she was having a lot of success in her DJ career. And Boots, I believe he took a little bit of time away from music to focus on more social activism and political things. Like I think he started and connected himself with a lot of political organizations. Cause like I said, Boots really, he doesn't just rap about a lot of these political social views. He's actually a foot soldier that gets out there and partakes in like demonstrations and protests. So after the 4-year hiatus, Boots and DJ Pam the Funktress, they reunite, and in 1998 they dropped this album, Still This Double Album. Now the original title was actually Still This Album, but the reissue is a double disc and it's called Still This Double Album. But the original title was Still This Album, released in 1998. Yes, and they actually had that title before System of a Down. Not trying to diss System of a Down because I love that band. But yeah, this was a great comeback album. 1998, man, like when they dropped this record, I mean, it was almost like they had never left. I mean, they came out swinging and they hit the ground running and they didn't stop. This is one of the Coup's best records right here. And it actually has, personally, my favorite Coup song, which is called Me and Jesus the Pimp in a 79 Granada Last Night. That is, if there was a list of the most recognized Coup songs, I believe that song would be number one, because that is the song that is usually synonymous with the Coup. That's the one that most everybody recognizes them for, in my personal opinion. There's other songs too, but this one is a huge highlight. It's an 8-minute song that tells the story of a young kid who seeks revenge on the pimp that murdered his mother when he was a child. And it's a very gripping and emotional story. But the song, when it dropped, as well as the video, you know, the Coup received a lot of critical acclaim. I think Boots even got a hip hop quotable from the source because of his verse. Because the song actually doesn't have a hook. It's it's just one long verse spit by Boots telling this story. And I mean the musicianship on it, everything about this song. Definitely go watch the video too. The video was really good. The video is almost like a short film. Honestly, the video will really help you get a better context of what the song is about. But I also believe that there's a deeper meaning behind this song. I don't quite know what it is, but I kind of feel that the song kind of serves as a metaphor for like deeper issues, maybe a critique on organized religion and other social issues out there in society. That's what I think. But I really like how that song is set up, because the way Boot sets it up is where you could either take the song metaphorically or you could take it literally, and either way you wouldn't be wrong in how you interpret it. But that's how great this song is. But aside from that song, this is a great record from start to finish. Definitely bringing in a lot more of that live instrumentation on a lot of these songs, especially songs like the Shipment, the opening track, the Shipment, and Cars and Shoes. A lot of that live instrumentation. A lot of that live instrumentation is becoming a lot more prominent, which I really dig. And even so, man, it's funky, very, very funky. But they also have this down home bluesy element to the sound as well. That's really cool. But there's a lot of great songs on here, and let's see what else is on here. Oh, the Repo Man Sings for You featuring Dale the Funky Homo Sapien, which is, I guess you could say, is a sequel to the Repo Man song from the prior album. Underdog, Sneaking In, Do My Thing. No, that's a skip. Piss on Your Grave. Piss on Your Grave is a highlight. Fixation, What the Popos Hate, Swerving. Man, just a lot of great songs on here. And of course, lyrically, the content is all about addressing like social class issues such as police brutality, racism, capitalism, all the ills and wills that's going on in society. It's just addressing these matters that are important that should be important to everybody, man. But of course, Boots doesn't beat you over the head with it. He's just giving you his point of view on these issues, and he leaves it up to you to think about what's the best like solution to these problems, honestly. But this is a great record, and highly recommend it to anybody that's not familiar with the Coup. Definitely check this album out. And the song Me and Jesus the Pimp in the 79 Granada Last Night, for anybody that's not familiar with the Coup, I would definitely recommend that song as a gateway into the group, because it's one of their biggest songs, and it was a huge highlight on this album and in their career. So definitely check this out, man. Steal this album or steal this double album, released in 1998. Alright, so next album we have is Party Music, released in 2001. Yeah, this is another really good record. Another great follow-up to Steal This Album. Excuse me. Yeah, this album I really did because, and if you notice with each album, the Coup, they're like expanding their sound. So, the first album had a more kind of jazzy East Coast boom bap sound. Then with Genocide and Juice, they really tapped into their Bay Area roots and went for that mob music, Oakland style of funk. Still this album, still funky, still got that Bay Area mob funk style, but bringing in some like down home bluesy elements in some of the tracks. This album, funky, but they bring in some like electro styles on quite a few of the songs, which kind of takes the album into sort of an electro funk type of thing, which I'm a fan of electro funk. I'm somebody that grew up listening to Prince and Zapp and Roger and all that good 80s electro funk. So this was right in my wheelhouse to listen to this record. But again, this album was also very controversial when it was released. For starters, the second track on this album, 5 Million Ways to Kill a CEO, which is basically a critique on capitalism, or if you want to say an anti-capitalist song. That when that song first came out, it ruffled a lot of feathers for, I guess, mainly like more conservative outlets and so forth. They really negatively critiqued this song. Not only that, but the original cover art was also a point of contention for people. So this album was originally scheduled to be released, I think, somewhere like around the week of when 9/11 happened. Now you can go online and you can find the original cover art. It's easy to find. Matter of fact, you can go on this album's Wikipedia page and they'll have the cover art. But the original cover art featured Boots and DJ Pam the Funkers standing in front of the World Trade Center, the Twin Towers. Boots is holding something that looks like a detonator, but it's actually, I think it's a bass tuner. I think it was an electronic bass tuner in actuality. But he's pressing the red button, and the Twin Towers are exploding. He basically blew up the Twin Towers. And again, Boots is a communist. He's very critical of capitalism. He's very anti-capitalist, and I guess that's what you could say. He's very critical. I say he's very critical of capitalism. So that cover art was a bit of a statement on that. So the record was supposed to come out around the time when 9/11 happened. What's so spooky about it is that, when they did this record, nobody was even thinking about 9/11. 9/11, nobody even thought that anything like that was going to happen. So that cover art was actually put together way before 9/11 even took place. But of course, when that happened, it ended up delaying the release of the album because they had to go back and find a more appropriate cover art. And then, of course, that really raised the profile of the Coup. Boots Riley started appearing on a lot of political platforms. He was on Bill Maher's Politically Incorrect, and I think he appeared on a few Fox News political platforms and so forth. And of course, the song "5 Million Ways to Kill a CEO" was also something that really kind of raised the profile of the group and so forth. But aside from the controversy, man, this is a really good record. It's a really good record. It's very funky. Like I said, they add in those electronic elements to give it an electro funk style. But other songs on here that are really good is "Wear Clean Draws" is a highlight. "Ghetto Manifesto," that's probably my favorite. "Ghetto Manifesto" is my favorite. "Get Up" featuring Dead Prez. Let's see here, "Ride the Fence." Now or Later's "Pork and Beef," which it has a G-Funk style. Which has a G-Funk style featuring T Cash. Which that's a song that's very critical of like police brutality and so forth. And I like how they interpolate the "Got Beef" hook from the East Siders on that track. Let's see here, "Heaven Tonight," "Thought About It," "Lazy MFer." But this whole entire song, even the opening track, everything, this whole entire album from start to finish is just a lot of great songs. So aside from the more controversial parts of this record, man, this is a great record that's definitely worth checking out. And of course, this is the new cover that they put out, which, if you look at that glass, I think that glass looks like that glass is like flames coming up. So I'm thinking that's a statement within itself, that wine glass. But yes, a really good record. One of my favorites, man. One that I tend to listen to quite a bit when I feel like listening to the Coup. Definitely one of my favorites, man. So check this album out as well. Really good record. All right, so the next album, 2006, "Pick a Bigger Weapon." Yeah, this is another good record right here. Another really good record. I think this was the last album where DJ Pam the Funkers was actually a full-time member of the Coup. I think after this record, she kind of scaled back on her time with the Coup, because I believe she started her own catering business. And then I guess somewhere in that time, she ended up becoming like a DJ for Prince. That might have been years later, but I know that she did end up starting a catering business somewhere around after this record came out. And so she only like showed up to like local shows to perform with the band. She didn't really tour with them no more because she had to keep a close eye on her business and so forth. And I think she was also having a successful career on her own as a DJ, because like I said, she was a highly sought after DJ. A lot of artists, a lot of established and well-known artists were looking to her to be their DJ. If you read the tribute that Boots wrote about her after her death, you'll see what I'm talking about, because he kind of bugged her. He bugged her to be a part of the Coup, because she was doing other things, and he really bugged her and harassed her to be a part of the group, the group. But yeah, "Pick a Bigger Weapon." I was reading online where most people consider this to be the Coup's best known album. I guess so, but I don't know. Maybe so. But I know they still had some major hits off of this album, such as My favorite, Mutiny, featuring Black Thought, The Roots, and Talib Kweli. That was a real good. That was a real good look right there, man. But both of those guys, I mean, you could argue that Black Thought and Talib Kweli are more well known and famous than Boots. So the fact that he even got those guys on the track, which is one of the best songs on the album, man, that was a huge highlight. What's another one? Show Your Ass. That's a fan favorite amongst Coup fans. I really like the Prince influence that track has. What else? Ass Breath Killers is another favorite of mine. But just all around a really great record. I will say that on this album, I think they focused a lot on their R&B and soul influences, man. So there's a lot of R&B and soul influences along with the funk and hip hop on here, but it just seems they tapped more into that R&B and soul style element of their style. And interesting enough, man, this album came out on Epitaph Records. If you can, let me see if you can see that. Yeah, right there. Yeah, right there. Sorry about that. I'm still getting used to this camera. Yeah, right here, Epitaph Records, which I thought that was kind of interesting because Epitaph Records is a iconic punk rock label. So many iconic and legendary punk bands have been signed to that label or are signed to that label. Bad Religion, Brett Gurewitz, the guitarist in that, man, he started the label. But Rancid was signed to that label. So a lot of iconic punk bands. The Offspring was once signed to Epitaph. But a lot of iconic punk rock bands came off of Epitaph Records. But yeah, so it was kind of interesting to see a funky hip hop group be signed to a punk label. But if you think about the Coup's lyrical content and their politically charged lyrics and so forth, they fit right in with a punk label. So it makes sense for them to be on a punk label. But yeah, this was a really great record. I like it a lot. I listen to it quite a bit, man, because it's got a lot of great songs on here. So definitely one that's worth checking out that I highly recommend. Pick a Bigger Weapon, 2006. All right, so this next one is, I'm gonna say that this is like the most recent studio album. Although the Coup did put out a soundtrack album in 2018, but I think this is their most recent studio album as of late, and that's Sorry to Bother You, released in 2012, I believe. Yeah, 2012. On Anti Records, which Anti Records, I believe, is a subsidiary label of Epitaph, so technically still on Epitaph. Sorry to Bother You. And yeah, as you can see, my CD has, my digipack has like autographs and stuff on there. That's not for me. I didn't get those autographs. I bought this off of Amazon used, and that's how my copy came, with autographs and stuff on it. So whoever owned this copy, they got those autographs. So I think I might have mentioned when I first began the video in my introduction that Frontman Boots Riley, he's not only is he known as a rapper, songwriter, and activist, but he's also a filmmaker. Boots Riley, he actually wrote and directed the movie, the 2018 film Sorry to Bother You. That was Boots Riley. This guy right here. Yeah, this guy right here. Right here on the back cover. He actually wrote and directed that film. So, if I'm correct, he actually had wrote an early script for that film way before it came out, like maybe around the late 2000s or early 2010s, which is around the time this album dropped. So one of his early scripts was actually the basis of the concept of this record, Sorry to Bother You. So the concept surrounding this album was the basis of one of his early scripts for that movie, because I believe he had to like go back and revise that script a few times before it became the final version that was the film. You know what I'm saying? I guess he had to, I don't know, maybe make it, I don't know if he had to make it more Hollywood or anything like that. I guess he just had to do some revisions or whatever before it got to the point where it was ready to be made into a film. But one of the early scripts that he wrote for that film was actually influenced by the concept of this record. So, Sorry to Bother You. I have to be honest with you. I think in this bunch, this is probably my least favorite Coup album. And the reason why is not because that I think that this album has bad music or anything. No, I think the music is good. The thing for me is I prefer the live versions of these songs as opposed to the studio versions. See, before I bought this album on CD, I had got more acquainted with the live versions. I had watched like several videos of them performing a lot of the songs live in the studio, as well as them performing the songs live at shows and festivals. And it's just something about the live versions that they put a little bit more pizzazz on it, man. Like there's an energy, there's a rawness and a grittiness to it that you really don't it's really not captured on the studio version. So that's why I consider this to be my least favorite. So I don't know. I doubt Boots Riley or anybody in the band will come across this video. But if they do, I hope they will keep in mind that maybe when they go into doing the next album, if they go in this direction, that they'll try to like capture what they do live, because the live performances are just far superior to what's on this album. And at this point, the Coup was practically a full-fledged band. They're a band at this point. You know, DJ Pam, the Funktress, I don't know what contributions she made to this album. She might have made some small contributions, but at this point, I don't really think she wasn't really a full-time member at this point. She was having success in her own right, doing her own thing at this point. But the sound has changed a little bit. It's progressed. You know, it's still funky, still has the hip hop element, but now they're bringing in rock, alternative rock, punk rock, rap rock. So there's a rock element that really dominates this record a lot on here. It's an eclectic mix of sounds such as alternative rock, rap rock, funk, hip hop, R&B, and soul. It's just an eclectic melting pot of different styles. And you know, I just wish that the music on here would have better captured those live performances that I saw on YouTube. That's what I really wish. If it had been that, if the studio versions had captured that same energy from the live versions, I think that I would really enjoy this album a lot more. And now, don't get me wrong, I still would throw this album on every once in a while whenever I'm on a Coup kick and I want to listen to their whole discography. I will jam this out, but it's just that I don't listen to it as much as I do the prior ones. But there are some songs on here that I really dig, such as the Magic Clap. What else? The Guillotine. The Guillotine is another one that I really enjoy. And Land of 7 Billion Dances. Those, I guess you consider those to be the singles because they shot videos for those particular songs. Those are the main ones that I really enjoy the most. You know, the others, there's a few songs on here like The Guise of Science, My Murder, My Love, and You're Not a Riot. There's a few songs on here that I also like, man. But I just wish that the sound would have better captured what they sound like live. I think I would have enjoyed it a lot better. But you know, it's a solid record. You know, it's not a garbage record. But I just hope that maybe next time, whenever the Coup reconvene and they start recording another album, and they go in this eclectic rock direction, or you know, whatever, I just hope that they'll just kind of capture what they are live. Because when you watch those live performances, man, they absurd what was on the studio album. But still glad to have it in my collection nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't recommend starting with this album. I would definitely start from the beginning and work my way up. But yeah, the Coup, Sorry to Bother You, released in 2012. All right, so now this last one, this is more of an honorable mention, more of like an associated project. So right here I have a Street Sweeper Social Club, released in 2009. Yeah, this is a collaboration between Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine fame and Boots Riley. And see, there you have both gentlemen right there on the back. But yeah, man, this is a solid rap rock, solid rap metal. That's what this is, man. It's got a really good collection of songs, 11 tracks. It's not an overly long album. You know, the songs are not overly long either. You know, it's just straightforward rap rock, rap metal. They get straight to the point. Now, you know, this isn't, even though I like this album, I'm gonna tell you like this, you know, it's not gonna blow your mind if you listen to this record. This record's not gonna blow your mind. They're not exactly reinventing the wheel of rap rock and rap metal. You know, I think it was a review I read on Sputnik Music where they said that it really just sounds like two friends hanging out having beers, and they decided like, hey, why don't we go in the studio and knock out a few songs? And I think that sums this album up and perfectly describes it. Even with the politically charged lyrics, man, this whole entire album sounds like Tom and Boots just had a lot of fun recording it. That's the whole energy, the whole vibe behind this whole record. It just sounds like fun. Anytime I listen to this album, I just imagine a bunch of revolutionaries or social activists having a party, having a celebration. That's what it sounds like. That's what it really sounds like, man. But they did a solid job on this record. Like I said, it's not like the greatest rap rock or rap metal album that you're gonna hear, but it's enjoyable. It's an enjoyable listen. I dig it. I dig it a lot. I know when I first heard this album, I wasn't too crazy about it, but I went back and revisited, and it grew on me, and I enjoyed it. I just took it for what it was. Like, this is just two friends getting together, knocking out some tracks, man, and it's dope. I don't know what the current status on Street Sweeper Social Club is, since Tom Morello has reunited with Rage Against the Machine, and Boots Riley is focusing on being a filmmaker and so forth. So I don't know what their status is, but I hope that one day they will reunite and put out another Street Sweeper Social Club album, because I did dig this album. I really dig this album. So I'm hoping they'll put out more music sometime in the near future. But yeah, for all my rock and metal fans out there who may not be into the more funky hip hop styles of the Coup, this is definitely something I would recommend for you guys to check out. Street Sweeper Social Club. Solid rap rock, solid rap metal. Definitely check it out. Alright, so that's it for this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed my discography review of the Coup. Just want to say RIP to DJ Pam the Funktress. Like I mentioned earlier, she did pass away back in 2017. I don't quite know if they revealed what was her cause of death or anything. Boots Riley, when he heard about her passing, he put out a really cool tribute towards her, telling the story of how he met her and everything that they went throughout the history of the Coup. And like I said, after she kind of, I don't know if she actually left the Coup or she just kind of just took more of a lesser role in the Coup, but she went on to be a DJ for Prince. I think she was his tour DJ or his official DJ, but she ended up booking a gig DJing for Prince, and he actually rechristened her Purple Pam. That was her nickname amongst the Prince fan base, was Purple Pam. And I think she DJed for him up until his death, which was in 2016. And then of course, unfortunately she ended up passing away in 2017. And Boots Riley, of course, he's going on to have more success, a lot of success recently as a filmmaker. Sorry to Bother You was a really good film that's on Netflix. I'm planning on watching that miniseries I'm a Virgo as well, because I really dug Sorry to Bother You. I thought that was really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing more films and television work from him as well. E-Rock, I don't know what E-Rock is up to. Like I said, he left the group back in the mid 90s to become a longshoreman, so maybe he's still having a successful career in that field. But a huge shout out to them three and everybody that's contributed to the Coup's success and their records. I really enjoy this band, and like I said, whether you agree or disagree with their political stance, I think, to me, the Coup is a band similar to like Rage Against the Machine or Public Enemy. Like, their music is just so good that's not even going to matter to you. You're just going to want to hear good music. You know what I mean? But if you guys enjoyed this video, do me a huge favor if you could hit that thumbs up and give me a like, as well as share this video. It does help with the channel. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button and tap that bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I drop new content. I want to send a huge thank you to everybody that's been subscribing to the channel, everybody that's been watching the videos, commenting, positive comments, showing their support. I really do appreciate it. And as always, hope everybody has a blessed day, a blessed week, and love, peace, and music. Peace out, y'all.